Do you feel like your finances and your retirement and your budgeting and all that is on track?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think I'm like most people, and I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, just trying to figure it out as I go along. I really don't know what my next step is until I take it.
Your assertion is that maybe that the way that you feel and the way that your finances are set up right now, that's typical of a millennial.
What happened? We went from a world that rocked to a world that got rocked.
It's put us in a position where home ownership is less achievable today than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how do you buy a home?
What we're being told is, well, if you want to get on ahead, why are you spending $7 on coffee every day?
Yeah.
Oh, you millennials are lazy and you want expensive stuff all the time.
They develop the structure and then bash us for using the structure that they created. Yeah.
What if our money problems is actually the money that we're using is the problem? Welcome to SatChats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. With SatChats, we are building the world's biggest Bitcoin welcome center to serve as your gateway to generational wealth. So if you're brand new to Bitcoin, we want to chat about sats with you. Head to satchats.com and grab your slot in the studio today. I'm your host, Stuart, Bitcoin Dad.
And I'm your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus.
So we're in the studio here with number 101, Adam. Adam used to work with JB, with the producer, right?
Yes,
JB Love.
yeah. We worked at the radio station cluster here in Raleigh for, I don't know, maybe a year together. I worked there for 3 years. I think we worked for about a year together.
Yeah, you worked with JB Love. Did you ever hear that on the radio, or was he done with that?
No, he was done with that.
He was like,
I don't know if he was allowed. I don't know if he was allowed to do that.
Okay. So about for all the Satillionaires out there, about how old are you, or exactly how old are you, whatever you're comfortable with?
I'm 31. I guess I'm like a month away from being 32, so whatever you want to call it.
Okay. And you're here in Raleigh with us, and what do you do?
I work for a marketing agency that does kind of B2C communications for the healthcare industry. So Anthem, United, all of those guys, and kind of as a bridge between the production side of it and the marketing side of it to kind of, help bridge that gap in communication.
Do you feel like your finances and your retirement and your budgeting and all that is on track, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm pacing, baby?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think I'm like most people, and I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, and I'm just kind of trying to figure it out not most people, but I feel like most people that I know that flying by the seat of my pants, just trying to figure it out as I go along. And I really don't know what my next step is until I take it.
Yeah. What generation does a 31-year-old belong to?
Millennial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same as us. Right?
Yeah.
I think we're considered elder millennials.
Okay.
Which is like a slight distinction inside the millennial class.
I didn't know that.
The reason I'm asking is, your assertion loosely is that maybe that the way that you feel and the way that your finances are set up right now, that's typical of a millennial.
Probably. Yeah.
I would agree with that.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, what happened? We're like, okay, 90s are cool. .com is rolling. Sounds good. .com bubble, it burst. 9/11, war on terror, gas prices, insanity. 2008 financial crisis, guess we're screwed. Pandemic, everything. I mean, we're getting wrecked.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of people that are in the millennial generation are going into the workforce hit with the pandemic. And people that are in college and all of that, it's uprooted a lot.
And for the centralized, forces of power, the government and tangential, government, the reaction, I would say, to all of those problems has been like literally everyone's like, man, just print some more money.
Right.
We'll go out and we'll fix those problems today because that's what our voter base wants us to do. They want short-term solutions, which is understandable. Mm-hmm. But it's put us in a position where home ownership is less achievable today than ever before.
Mhm.
I mean, how do you buy a home?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Plus, I feel like even as the government's like printing money to pay for its own bad behavior, making everything more expensive for us as a generation, what we're being told is, well, if you want to get on ahead, why are you spending $7 on
Save.
coffee every day?
Yeah,
bro?
avocado toast.
You know, yeah. Oh, you millennials are lazy and you want expensive stuff
They
all the
develop
time.
the structure and then bash us for using the structure that they created. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you can't buy a home. You can try to save, but it's not going to do anything for you because once you factor in inflation, your money's just getting less valuable over time.
Yeah.
And so why would you think long term? You want to have kids one day, but like, how am I going to do that?
Yeah.
How am I going to buy a house? Like, you can't think long term. So you just have to be okay with just kind of like short term thinking, and it's
not
like a trap.
the whole thing's upside down.
It's a vicious cycle.
So what would it mean for you if you were able to find a solution that, you know, like what would it mean if you could make one easy switch in your life that would take you from pacing behind to pacing ahead?
I mean, it would take, I think 90% of my stress off my back, because I feel like, again, like for most people, the stress is financial stress. It's, you know, like I said, you know, how am I going to pay this bill? How am I going to, you know, pay my rent? How am I going to pay for gas? Anything like that. It's just, I mean, prices have gone up exponentially. So yeah, I think it would take an enormous amount of stress off my plate.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I don't know how often any of us like slow down and say, well, what is money? And now that I know what money is that US dollar over there, is that good money or is that not good money? And if it's not good money, then what is the good money? You know, like what if everything we've been told as a generation is not true in the sense that, hey, you guys are lazy, you guys are entitled, you know, you're spending money on, you know, Starbucks and avocado toast, and you guys just aren't as good as we are, and that's why you have all the money problems you have. And it's like, well, what if our money problems is actually the money is the problem? The money that we're using is the problem. What if the US dollar is the problem and there's another money out there that we could just, it's like, you know, governments hate this one simple trick. It's like a clickbait title.
Right,
you know what I mean? Right. Centralized governments hate this one simple trick. And it's to switch from dollars to Bitcoin. That's what we believe. So tell us a little bit, first of all, what do you think about that? What if Bitcoin could take 90% of the stress off your back? Over time.
It's not a silver bullet immediate, but
right. I mean, I'm all for it. I have a few questions about it, which of course I'm sure we can get into, but I mean, in theory, I'm all for it. I agree with you. You know, the dollar has dwindled. I mean, when you were talking about that, the first thing I thought of is, you know, every day after high school, I would go to McDonald's with my friends and I'd have $5 and I could get a meal. Now $5 gets you like what, a large fry, you know, like it's, you know, it's entirely different. So yeah, I think that would be a game changer.
Plus there's all this insanity out there where like, when you went to McDonald's after high school and got like, you know, a McMeal or whatever for $5,
right? You
were getting a certain number of calories, by the way. They weren't good. They weren't good calories, but they were in there.
Yeah.
They were in there. I saw a video last year where this lady got a Big Mac and she pulled the tomato out of the Big Mac and she pulled the beef patty out of the Big Mac, and the tomato slice was thicker than the beef patty. And she was like, where am I? What is going on? Like, it's razor thin. So it's not even the same Big Mac that it was. And it costs more.
Right.
I'm like, so anyways, what are some of those questions that you have?
I guess my main questions, I mean, they all kind of stem from one thing, which is, I guess, like the scalability of it all. Just kind of, you know, if it were to become the norm, like the dollar that, and I could be all wrong, I guess, my initial thought could be completely wrong, and that could just completely justify every question I have. But I'm under the understanding that there's like a finite amount of Bitcoin available, and that's what drives the supply and demand. So I guess my question is, if it becomes the norm, how does that become scaled? I know there's other coins out there. How do you value this one's worth more than this one? Like a $50 bill is worth more than a $20 bill. How do you add regulations in a sense to something that's currently unregulated? And that's the glory of it, is that it's unregulated. Because eventually, if anyone can make a coin, how do you stop someone from just making a coin essentially, it might not be worth anything, but printing their own money and making 100,000 or 300,000 shares of it, and just being like, I have this now, and claiming wealth, even though it might not actually be wealth.
So let's block and tackle this one.
Yeah,
I know that was multiple questions.
yeah, that's okay.
And that,
all right. We got them all.
We've done this now 101 times.
Yeah,
and everyone comes at Bitcoin with a plate of spaghetti. And our job is to
it's complicated.
It is to look at the plate of spaghetti and say, okay, let me get the meatballs off. Those are over here. All right. Let me get the individual cooked noodles, clean the sauce off, straighten them out, dry them, get them back in the box for you. You know what I mean? So we know what's going on here. The biggest and easiest and best thing we can do first is to separate Bitcoin from crypto.
Okay.
Bitcoin is Bitcoin because Bitcoin is decentralized, meaning every individual person's computer powers it through a group consensus. That means that we all get to protect one another and keep the rules as they were written. And centralized over here, cryptocurrency, like, I got a new token and it's really cool. And I made 50 squipnillions of them, and I gave myself 40 squipnillions, and y'all fight over the remaining 10. And now they're all your say, rug pull. I died in India.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also the government's like, we're centralized, and we just made 1 trillion more tokens too. But like, we have guns, so.
Right, the government does the same thing. That's I guess where my question kind of came from.
Centralized tokens suck.
Yeah.
And the dollar's one of them.
And the dollar's one of them.
Right.
Decentralized tokens rock. So Bitcoin is Bitcoin, crypto is crypto, and Bitcoin has other things going for it. It's all out in plain view. All the transactions, you can see them right here, are happening right in front of our eyes. The source code's all open. It's secure. It's futuristic. It's awesome. Crypto is kryptonite. That's what we say. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Crypto is kryptonite. When you're thinking like, hey, how do I place Bitcoin in this world of tokens and crypto and things people are just creating, just put a box around all of it. Ignore it. Ignore it. Just focus only on Bitcoin. I hope that knocks out
a lot. Yeah, because I guess I still have a little bit of a question about this scalability and, how does it kind of parse apart? How do you divide because I know you can divide a Bitcoin. How do you divide it apart? And, what if you hit a certain point where you're dividing so tiny that, it becomes that it's actually not really worth, I don't know.
Yeah. So let's treat that.
So Bitcoin, first of all, is infinitely divisible.
Okay.
The whole unit of a Bitcoin right now is divisible down into 100 million Satoshis. So there's 100 million Satoshis in every Bitcoin, just like there's 100 pennies in every dollar. So if you multiply 100 million times 21 million, so 21 million Bitcoin times 100 million Satoshis each, you get 2.1 quadrillion units of money. Right now, the best that we can tell, the global economy operates on between 700 and 900 trillion dollars.
Right.
Worth of value.
Right.
If you were to make it like units, there's like 900 trillion units of value in the world.
which, you could argue like, yeah, well, those are dollars, and then you multiply that by 100 and you get pennies. But we don't value the world in pennies. We value the world in dollars.
Right.
So if you were to value the world in sats, there's enough units of money there to power the world's economy.
Okay.
But the other important thing to remember about Bitcoin as a whole is that Bitcoin is just a protocol. It's just code that makes up a protocol. And all that is a set of rules. And code, especially open sourced code, can be changed.
Right.
So if we did get to a point where it was like, wait a second, we need microsats.
Mm-hmm. Or like I like to say, Nakamoto's, we could fractionalize it down even more. So Bitcoin is infinitely divisible because it's code. We can change the rule. But the nice thing is, to change rules of Bitcoin, to change rules on the dollar, what does that look like? It looks like, maybe a pretty small room of a handful of very powerful people
deciding,
making that decision.
Yeah.
What does it look like to change the rules of Bitcoin? Well, in order to do that, you've got to get the consensus of, right now, currently, we don't have it up, but 21,000 computers all across the world and hovering around in space to agree to that change. Those are called nodes. Those are people who are running the Bitcoin software
kind of
on
like
their computer.
Reddit moderators in a way.
Kind of like that. Yeah. These are people who have a little bit more stake in the game because they've elected to download a copy of the Bitcoin protocol and run it on their computer at home. And all that is the source code plus the blockchain, their own copy of the blockchain, so that all those nodes can check each other to make sure that it's accurate.
Can, I guess, anyone theoretically open their own node?
Anybody could do it.
Okay. And then it becomes, you have more people involved that have to sign off for a rule change.
Which makes it more decentralized.
It makes it more difficult to change from where it's at now, basically.
Incredibly difficult to hack. I mean, never been hacked.
It's impossible.
Right.
I mean, so just to back up for a second, Bitcoin can scale because Bitcoin is both scarce and infinite.
Right.
At the same time. At the same time. Since its supply is both fixed and infinitely divisible, it means that right now we have a brand new form of computation in cyberspace that has solved the copy-paste problem of the digital world.
Right.
You can't copy it. You can't fake it. You either have it or you don't, period. And we've decided that this line of property in cyberspace that can't be copy-pasted, but is in effect 2.1 quadrillion units of information, we as humans have decided that the best possible use for that is as money. We're like, dang, these units of information make for some pretty banging money.
Right. I mean, I know I believed it was a fad from the beginning. I'm talking about NFTs, but I feel like it's kind of on that same path. People bought into it, so it gained its value. Mm-hmm. And I mean, obviously it fell off because that never had a chance, but.
So there's something there's two strands of spaghetti right there, Adam. Bitcoin has value because Bitcoin has value. Bitcoin also has value because we recognize it has value and we're adopting it, and that's creating a network effect.
Right.
But to say that Bitcoin only has value because we perceive it is not true. That's like, Beanie Babies have value because we've gone nuts.
No, I understand the whole supply and demand aspect of why it has actual monetary value. I understand that.
Bitcoin has value whether humans are here or not.
So I guess what is that value then?
Yeah. I mean, the value is, for example, that it is decentralized instead of being centralized. The fact that it's completely open for everyone to inspect versus try to go to Fort Knox and be like, excuse me, can you show me that you have the gold in there? And they're like, you're like, okay, all right. I'm sorry, government. My bad. I trust you. When I think about like certain advancements in mankind's, history, like, hey, we discovered penicillin. Penicillin always had the ability to do what it did. We just had to discover it and then go, oh, shoot, we should use this.
Right.
Bitcoin is like a gigantic database, but it's actually like 22,000 individual databases that all get to keep their own copy of everything we're doing and check against one another so that there's no funny business. There's no faking it. There's no manipulating it. And we get to like invest or convert to a form of money that, yes, we can change the rules. We can upgrade Bitcoin. We can make it quantum resistant. We can do all this cool stuff, but we all have to decide as a group.
So the value is that it's people controlled, essentially.
That's one. There's also the properties of money too that I think we should talk about.
Yeah. Okay.
So like, what makes money money? Whether it's dollars or gold or Bitcoin
or seashells or glass beads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever you want to trade in.
Number one, it's got to be a good store of value. Second one is unit of account. Can I price things in this money? The third is medium of exchange. How accepted is this thing out in the open marketplace for me to exchange my value for your value? You have a bike, I have $200, and you will accept my $200 for your bike in a way that you might not accept my 3,000 seashells. So that makes the dollar a really good medium of exchange.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
So using those three properties, let's talk about gold and dollars first. Gold, excellent store of value. Dollars are a horrible store of value because of inflation, which is also something that we all know about. We're familiar with inflation. If you know a little bit more about inflation, you're like, well, yeah, it's like 2 to 3% a year, right? And that's planned and that's normal. That's what we plan for. It's got to happen. It's supposed to happen. Then if you learn a little bit more about inflation, you're like, well, wait a second. That's not 2 to 3% a year when you really measure it. It's like 7 to 10% a year. That's a big problem. And then you learn a little bit more about inflation and you're like, well, why is inflation even necessary? Why do you need inflation? The real answer is it's not needed for us.
Right.
The people who need inflation are the people in that centralized, chamber of power who want to manipulate the money supply. It's a silent tax.
Right.
So
I can fully agree with that.
Yes. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is unit of account. Dollars, great unit of account. Gold, not so great of a unit of account. Like if I was like, I will sell you this picture right here, how much gold will you give me for it?
Right. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Dollars?
Well, I would say that we don't know how to account for things in gold because we never used it.
Yeah,
but in fact, you could very easily say this is $1, $10, $100. This is 1 ounce of gold, 10 ounce of gold, 100 ounce of gold. This is 1 Satoshi, 10 Satoshi, 100 Satoshis, right? So all three are great units of account, right? Like a house is supposed to store your value, but you can't be like, yeah, these groceries are worth 1/100th of my house. It's like, that's not a good unit of account.
Right.
So gold in reality is a great store of value. It's a great medium of exchange because it worked for like hundreds and thousands. Here's 3 gold coins. Here's 4 gold coins. Here's a gold bar. And then how much gold is this worth? Well, this is worth 3 coins, But it does get tricky because it's like, well, is the amount of gold that you say in this coin?
Yeah.
Did you clip it?
Right.
Is this tin, but gold's on the outside?
Is it gold plated?
What happens when the Roman Empire is like, as we get more of these coins back out of circulation, we're going to clip a little corner off of them and we're going to keep that. We're going to make a bunch of new gold coins.
Plus you're like, hey, I'm rich. I got so much gold. Let's move somewhere else. And you're like, okay. And it's like, wait, this is like 300 pounds. It's like, can somebody help me? Okay, let's stop for a second.
Okay.
There was a huge situation where Adam was trying to figure out where Bitcoin sits in this wide world of crypto investments, US dollars, all of it. And we're just like, look, just grab all this stuff, boop, delete. Only focus on Bitcoin. Then we talked about scalability. Hey, if there's a limited supply of Bitcoin, how could the whole world possibly run on Bitcoin? The answer is there's 2.1 quadrillion sats, which is more than double the entire value of the whole world. And we're trying to stack sats now because we see that future, Adam. Right now, you can get 1,000 sats for $1, but we see a world where 1,000 sats gets you like $1,000 worth of stuff. So we're switching from garbage money to awesome money now, so that we can prepare for that moment where the whole world is using Bitcoin and everything is priced in Bitcoin. And, $900 trillion worth of stuff is being exchanged with 2.1 quadrillion future units of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there were more questions that you had about Bitcoin and about maybe like its ability to be regulated or like, well, I guess before we just say, hey, we love Bitcoin and here's Bitcoin. Let's talk about Bitcoin. What's, there were like some resistances there that I want to make sure we cover.
I guess, yeah, it's more so. I mean, like you pointed to, that you're using the dollar as the measure for what Bitcoin is. If at a certain point in the future, if Bitcoin is the most widely used form of currency, then are you switching to a different measurement? And what is that measurement? How do you determine? Because, I guess how I'm looking at it is you're determining what one Bitcoin or one sat is worth based on the value of the dollar. Mm-hmm. And if the value of the dollar eventually becomes obsolete, what are you then basing it off of?
Okay.
If Bitcoin eventually overtakes the dollar and it's the yen and everything is based off of the value of the dollar. So it's, if that goes away, what then are we basing it on? That's, I guess, the still questions that I do have.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So I have some ways to treat that, but I want to make sure.
No, I mean, all I wanted to make sure that we did was walk through all three of those properties and money through the Bitcoin lens. Mm-hmm. But if if you understand without explanation that Bitcoin is the best store of value.
No, I understood from the second that you said Bitcoin and crypto are separate and you explained that cleared that all up for me. Now I just have questions that have kind of stemmed from what you guys have said in this conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And it's good to check.
Bitcoin's the best store of value. It's the best unit of account, which is what the question that you just asked is about. And it's the best medium of exchange because I can digitally I can pay off a loan with Bitcoin without going to my bank and saying, can I draw the money out of here and wire it over here? I can just, how much Bitcoin do you need? Right. I can transfer. It's peer-to-peer digital cash. So I can send my Bitcoin to you without needing anyone's permission to do that.
So are you saying that in the future, instead of saying one Bitcoin is worth 107 or whatever it is, that it's worth 117,000, that, we're going to be saying this costs however many sats. Mm-hmm. So then, I don't know, I guess.
It's really hard to imagine that.
I mean, it is, but I guess it's hard to think through how that would be set up. I guess I'm more so thinking of how now you've said that you're not creating, but you're determining the value based on the dollar, but then I'm still missing that link. Like I guess that's still the link that I'm missing of.
Yeah, we just think of things, the value of things in terms of the dollar, because there was a very concerted effort, which, money printing was a big part of it, to go out and dollarize the world. That was an objective of the United States for a long period of time.
Right.
But you also have to remember that there was a period before dollars existed.
Right.
So it was the same question back then. Right?
I guess I'm thinking of just that the two things are going to be going in opposite ways. If Bitcoin is taking over, the dollar is decreasing, which then if you're basing Bitcoin on the dollar, when do you
decouple?
Change over? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I guess the question that I have.
Yeah.
So
What I'm hearing here is that it's something that a lot of our guests do, where when they get past some of the initial problems that are stopping them from stacking their first sats, and they're willing to accept that this brand new form of computation that is unlike any other crypto or currency out there of any kind, and is like it is a brand new thing. Once you get to that level, then your questions start to go into, well, what does the future of this look like? Because I'm kind of ready to commit, but I want to see where this is going in order to all the way commit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy to hear, that we were here and now we're here and we're looking at these things out in the future.
Yeah.
So to treat some of what you've said, the dollar is effectively like a mind virus these days, where like it is almost impossible to conceive of anything at all in anything other than dollars.
Right.
And it's like, well, if this is going to replace the dollar and the dollar goes away, then how could Bitcoin possibly be worth anything at all? Because it's worth dollars, right? No.
Well, that's not my train of thought. It's more so like he said, where do we separate from it being based on the dollar to where society turns around and says, actually, no, we're going to base it on Bitcoin and sats? Where does that line get drawn, and how does it get drawn? Because I feel like that's regulations start to come into play at that point. I feel like, because then it's not just, I don't know. You're asking the entire world to transfer over at one, single point. I don't see that happening.
Well, it doesn't have to be. It will be gradual. It's already been gradual. It'll continue to be gradual. And, there's a world where the dollar can continue to exist, albeit worth less and less and less over time. And we live in that world.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin can coexist, and be worth more and more over time. We're living it. So the dollar doesn't necessarily have to fail in order for Bitcoin to prosper. I think what's going to help people start pricing things in terms of sats and Bitcoins are, the marketplace has to adapt to that. Like, people who sell things have to be willing to accept Bitcoin for those things. And that's also starting to happen.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And as more commerce is actually conducted in Bitcoin terms, the more people will have a little bit of a mind shift of being able to price something in Bitcoin.
Okay.
I think it's a gradual shift inside each individual person, because to Chris's point, there was a moment where all of us as kids had to start learning that things were worth dollars.
Yeah.
And starting to be like, well, how much effort did it take me to get this $20 bill? And do I really want to spend it on this thing over here that I only think is worth 10? Like, it's a language. The US dollar is a language in our mind that we had to learn, just like we had to learn English. And Bitcoin is a language that everyone is going to have to learn as well. And I think it's going to happen slowly over time. I mean, me personally, I got started in Bitcoin because I was pacing behind and looking for a way to get out ahead. But I didn't have what it took to be like a rich person that did like rich person asset things. You know what I mean? Like, I had a savings account, and my savings account was like buying me less and less as I was trying to save up. I'm like, where am I? What is happening here? Okay. And I got in because I wanted the number of dollars I had to go up. I'm like, I'm going to take the dollars going to Bitcoin, and then later the Bitcoin is going to be worth more dollars. And then I'm going to have the dollars that I'm trying to freaking get a hold of, dang it. And after about a year, I'm like, wait. I'm trying to get more Bitcoin. Like I'm trying to get rid of the dollar. I'm trying to go into Bitcoin, and I'm trying to stay in Bitcoin, and I'm trying to get more Bitcoin. And over the next several decades, as I need to buy something, I'll buy dollars with my Bitcoin, because those silly things are getting worse and worse every time. And I'll take, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin today will get me $10,000 worth of stuff later. And I'll I'll just buy dollars with my Bitcoin and then buy the thing with my dollars. So it takes a mental shift over time. It takes time.
Yeah.
And even thinking about things in Satoshis, I'm still consciously practicing that. And it looks something like, okay, I'm hungry and I don't want to make myself lunch. I could go to Five Guys and get a hamburger and a French fry and a soda, and it'd be $17. And, you know, I'm no longer scandalized by that price, because we get scandalized initially by the new inflation price, and then we get used to it, and then we get scandalized again and get used to it. And like, you know, the first time I paid 17 for a hamburger, fry, and a drink, I was like, oh my God. And these days I'm like, yeah, here you go. Because
it's normal now. Yeah.
Dude, the $20 bill is a new $1 bill, period. That's the, you know, and there's a meme that's like, hey, the federal government just printed a brand new $1 bill and it's a $20 bill. Because that's really what it is. And I can go pay for that, because I know 5 years from now it's going to be $25, $27. Like, but when I go, okay, do I want to spend 17,000 sats on a hamburger, fry, and soda? Because it's about 1 to 1,000 right now. And I'm like, 17,000 sats today could be $17,000 in 10 years. Do I really want to spend what could become $17,000 on a hamburger, fry, and drink? Dude, I'm going to actually go see, look, we got a cucumber in the fridge. We got some old carrots in the fridge. I got some hummus from Chris that I brought back from the studio. I need more vegetables anyway.
We got milk. Milk fills me up.
What's going on here? Is this is some old pita over here? Let me get that. Like, oh, here, I'm like, and I put something together from the fridge, because when I think about that purchase in terms of Satoshis, I'm like, I don't want to spend that. I don't want to spend that.
That right there is like, it's the mindset shift that I think so many millennials that are in your situation will really benefit from. Because that's what I was saying at the beginning. Like, you live in a world, in a situation where's the incentive to think long term? Where is it? Because you're spending in money that's like, it's just going to be worth less and less and less. So just spend it, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but once you start working with the money that's like, I better hold on to this. You know, you start eating leftovers. You start really looking at your stuff and like, do I need that new pair of shoes? Do I need that? Because I'm thinking about it in terms of a money that's now going to buy me more in the future. And I want to hold on to that money as opposed to a money that's going to buy me less in the future, which who cares?
Yeah. And eventually you get to the point where it's not like, should I buy a new chair for my desk? You're like, if I sell the chair I have, I can buy some Bitcoin, and standing's healthier anyway. It's Bitcoin rewired my mind. Totally. It reshaped how I view the world. Wonderful. And it like, because we're all in the same generation, I felt my efforts were going off a cliff, because they were, and they are. If fiat currency, if a centralized token of any kind is your money, your efforts are going off a cliff. But when your efforts are going into something that can't be manipulated by central powers, it can't be changed unless we're all savvy, you know, it can't be increased, it can't be debased. Like, Bitcoin is the money badger, you know. When you're putting it into here, it starts to feel like it's adding up, you know. So, you know, there's so much to Bitcoin that we just will not be able to fit it into a single chat about sats.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So we ask each of our guests if they'd be willing to come back on in 9 months to give us an update on their Bitcoin baby. Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, I'd be willing to do that.
How did you feel about everything going into it? How do you feel now that we've had that chat?
I mean, I have a lot of questions answered. I mean, I still have a few that have kind of stemmed again just from this conversation. I mean, like in my master's program, everybody's thesis was surrounding how do we implement blockchain and Bitcoin to pay artists, to be able to allow artists to be independent and stay away from the record labels. So like my mind is channeling towards that. And that's where a lot of my questions stem from, of like, how do we make this possible? How do we further get away from the corporations? Oh, sorry.
I love that. And we can't wait to hear more about it when you come back on the show, man, and see what kind of progress you made there. So let's recap the conversation here with Adam. Adam is a millennial like us. Okay. Maybe not an elder millennial. Okay.
Still kindred.
Still kindred.
I think I'm right there in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. And he grew up in the same world that we did, which was one that rocked and then got progressively worse and worse and worse.
Got rocked.
Yeah. We went from a world that rocked to a world that got rocked. And we went from $5 McDonald's after high school to $15 McDonald's with the goofy, thin patties. You know what I mean?
Paper thin.
Oh my gosh. So Adam spent time in radio with JB Love and is now part of a marketing agency. Adam, is not pacing on track for all the metrics that we tried to use to determine whether we're going to be able to die with dignity. Appreciate it. Not many of us are, right? I'm still not. It's not good. But, the question is, well, Adam doesn't seem like somebody who's making a bunch of dumb decisions.
No.
Gambling away his money, trying to buy a Lambo when he can't afford it. Adam and I are the same. We wake up, we work, we make some money, we go back to bed, but things aren't adding up. The efforts aren't being captured and protected. It's just, piling quicksand on top of quicksand. And it's like you said, you never know your next move till you make your next move.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But what we're offering is a vision of something else, a vision of this futuristic money that, could sound like all the other cryptocurrencies out there, could sound like some, sci-fi wooey whatever, but is actually real and is inspected by millions of people and operated by thousands of nodes and, is like, it's our money and you can't mess with it. So, take your centralized tokens and get out of here, right? Because we're working on this. And we talked about the fact that the best thing you can do to get started is recognize that Bitcoin is Bitcoin, crypto is kryptonite. And thanks to, I think, number 95, Senor Gringo Poppy, we also now know that cash is trash. Bitcoin is Bitcoin, crypto is kryptonite, cash is trash. So we want this over here. Mm-hmm. And how does it scale? Well, just by being Bitcoin. That's how. It's both verifiably scarce and infinitely divisible at the same time, which means that it's infinitely available to all of us. And it means that your share buys you more and more and more as time goes on, because the world's goods and services get bigger. The money stays the same. That means the share of the pie you need to get this thing becomes less, versus the world's goods and services getting better and the share of money is going. So you need even more of this junk to get that stuff, right?
Right.
And we talked about the properties of money, the fact that, the dollar is a good medium of exchange, a good unit of account, not a good store of value. Gold and Bitcoin are both good stores of value, good units of account, and good mediums of exchange. But the Renaissance called and wants its form of money back. We're
not going back to gold. Yeah.
And as much as I like to lift stones, I'm not trying to move 300 pounds of gold, through an airplane with me because I'm trying to move with my wealth. I need it to be online. And I need to be able to send it anytime I want I don't need anybody's permission. I don't need a bank to be like, I'm sorry, what do you want to withdraw $10,000 for?
Right.
Because we actually are investing your money to make money for ourselves. And we're giving you 1%. So can we keep your money? And now your mind has turned to hey man, how could this work for me? How could this work for artists? Interestingly enough, you're thinking about how can Bitcoin eliminate this third party from in between the artist and the person enjoying the art, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
And we had a doctor that's like, man, pay me in Bitcoin and just pay me directly so that we can eliminate the healthcare insurance complex from between me and my patient. And Bitcoin allows you to eliminate all that garbage of banks and money printers and governments that's between you and somebody you're trying to pay. Period. So Bitcoin gets that third party out of there. You know what I mean? So Great conversation today. I'll turn it over to Chris here.
All right, Adam. So our founding sponsor here on SatChats is Ithaca Hummus. Looks like we got the jalapeno lime today, which is number 99, Kristen's new favorite. All right, let's notch down on this.
Cheers.
Wow. That is like, it's like a garden. It's like a fresh garden in a bite. Really. Adam, you get your choice for being on the show today between $50 if we have absolutely failed and done a horrible job today. You'll choose this. Or $50 in Bitcoin, which Stuart has pre-calculated as 42,514 sats, or $50.
I would definitely take the Bitcoin at this point. I mean, I don't even trust cash in hand, to be honest.
Yes, sir. Come on, man.
We
Let's
don't
go,
either. That was
dude.
great.
Yes. So, number 101, Adam, thank you for stacking the Satoshis here with us today. You bring our show's scoreboard to 93 who have stacked the sats, along with 8 who chose the cash. That tub of hummus is yours.
All right.
This pack of collectible cards is also yours. It's a gift from number 83, Aladdin, who's at the top of BTC trading cards. There's so much to know about Bitcoin that one thing he's doing to try to help people, this is called an orange pill in a pack, by the way, is to break down concepts into almost like flashcards.
Okay.
And make them collectible, make them interesting. You know, maybe you'll see something in there that sparks something for you. So this is the part of the show where we ask you Satillionaires for your value in exchange for ours. What do we value? YouTube subscriptions. Our goal for season 2 is 10,000 subscribers. And when we reach that level, we will select one from you at random and drop 2 million Satoshis on your head. I'll say this one time for all our longtime Satillionaires. Our goal of 100,000 subscribers in exchange for 10 million sats is still there. We're just slicing this apple up for you all so we can try to, reach these milestones, okay? You can also sign up to come on the show. You can support the show with your sats. We'll give them straight to guys like Adam. Our addresses are in the show notes. We're also looking for sponsors, okay? We have Ithaca Hummus as our lead sponsor. We have the Pro Collective sponsoring our Pearl-aroid moment.
And by the way, Ithaca Hummus is experiencing its biggest growth year ever since sponsoring SatChats. So
I personally believe that our show with about 1,500 subscribers is single-handedly responsible for that boom in sales.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Right? You remind me of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think SatChats should take credit for Chris's work at another business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes sense in my head. If you want to be an exchange, a wallet, a miner, a credit card, you name it, a titanium seed phrase, contact us, show@satchats.com. You'll work directly with me because that's the goal that I've taken for this company, okay? So reach out. Remember, SatChats is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. Also, our guests' views are their own. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.